Welcome to AI Unravel. My name is Etienne Noumen. I'm a senior software engineer here in Calgary, and I'm the creator of the AI Unravel podcast. Today we have our guest, Kevin Surace, who is a CEO and keynote speaker and a Silicon Valley pioneer. So, Kevin, welcome.
Glad to be here.
So, why don't you just introduce yourself to our audience, Kevin?
Oh my goodness. Well, I've been in the AI space for about 30 years, specifically in applied AI. I'm known as the father of the AI assistant and voice AI. Have 95 worldwide patents now, most of those in the AI space, and especially in the voice AI, as well as AI for software QA. So somehow I've been around it for a long time through several nuclear winters of AI, but today isn't one of those. Today is a very exciting day. It's been exciting over the last few years as LLMs got out there and regular folk could interface with AI as opposed to just Python coders. So it's really a great time.
Yeah, that's great. Like, you are the right person for this podcast. So I've been getting a lot of requests from my audience. They wanted to hear from someone who's been in Silicon Valley. So this is great. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you bet.
So we're going to start. So I've prepared this slide so that I don't lose my train of thought. So okay, so I'm just going to be going through this question, and then we're going to talk
Great.
about. Yeah, so this is close to home. Like me, I'm an engineer, and I work in a big corporation, and AI in a couple of years, I built an RPA tool in a company. We're all excited, but when I look at it today, it just looks so backward, right? So I want you to talk to us about like how is the current wave of Gen AI powered automation is fundamentally different from the
Sure.
RPA.
Sure. Well, the first thing is don't underestimate RPA. So RPA has been around about 10 years. It took the RPA vendors 10 years before that to get really good at interfacing and controlling your applications on your desktop or in the corporation, right? And it turns out that is quite hard. Now, RPA hasn't traditionally used any AI. They've embedded some AI. The RPA vendors, meaning UiPath, Automation Anywhere, and others, right, have embedded some AI of late. But I think people are looking at what's different about RPA. RPA has automated lots of things that previously took a human, to talk to 5 or 10 different applications, and automated those processes, and it was very reliable. It has been very reliable, and it continues to be very reliable. That business didn't go away.
Yeah.
Can you replace it all with AI agents is what people are thinking. Hey, I could take an AI agent and do this. Well, the first thing people have found is AI agents aren't very reliable. Now, that's different than what's different about it, but let's just get to the nut, right? The nut is AI agents aren't yet very reliable. And the reason is they don't naturally know how to interact with all your different applications. RPA knew that because we hard-coded how to press that button. Yeah. It's literal code. You might have written some of that code. You write that code, you say, look for this and press it. I can do that, right? I can do that in yes, I mean, we know we know how to do that. It is literal hard-coded and it works.
Yeah.
Now, if the applications change, you have to go change that code, but the fact of the matter, it works. When you take an LLM and say, press the green button, it doesn't actually know what to do. It's trying to estimate over everything on a page at that moment in time what to do because there's nothing hard-coded there, right? Yeah. And the best models are getting that right 70 or 80% of the time, but not 100% of the time. That makes it kind of useless as an RPA tool and almost useless as an agent tool. Yeah. And that's why, people talk about agents for the last year, but you have not seen en masse corporations have agents do lots of things. 2 reasons. 1, RPA is already doing those things. So even if I got an agent to do it, I'm not sure how much more value I have. And 2, they don't do it as well as RPA right now. They don't click the buttons and go through an insurance claims flow, for example. But what's the difference? The difference is ultimately Gen AI can make actual decisions that are not based on rules at all, but are based on sort of intuition and inference and prior things and all kinds of things, right?
That's
And
the
you
key.
can train it, you can use RAG, you can set rules, but RPA is hard ruled. Like, if this happens and this happens, do this. But if 5 things happen that it's never seen before, it stops and says, ask a human. That's what
Exactly.
RPA does.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, what does Gen AI do? It says, I just keep going. I'll make my own decisions, right? Good, but also bad. And I say this because corporations don't like decisions that are made on their behalf when they hadn't in a prior time contemplated what the outcome of that decision would be, right? So I'm in insurance claims processing. If I'm using RPA, I have a set of rules. I process it to those rules, okay? Now I've got Gen AI, and it starts making decisions. My goodness, this person should get $150,000. What? That's nice, but no, you don't get to do that, right? So you start piling all kinds of rules around it. Of course, the more rules you pile around Gen AI, the more it starts to look a little bit like RPA.
Yeah.
Because I had 300 rules that I worked with, in this RPA intake, let's say, and now I end up adding the same rules to Gen AI and say do the same thing, but I can't do it as reliably as RPA did. So I don't see Gen AI replacing RPA kinds of processes. I think RPA
Even though
already
Gen
does.
AI will get better and smarter.
Yeah, I mean, people are adding some Gen AI to RPA, right? So then you say, where can I use agents? Well, I can use agents for things that RPA couldn't do. So, for example, keep an eye on airline prices, and if this happens, let me know, right? That's an interesting agent kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's not good for RPA at all, but it's pretty good for Gen AI. It can do that. So I would look at more amorphous kinds of things where agents can really make decisions, notify you of something, maybe pick up the phone and call the back office or talk to the back office or talk to an agent in the back office. So there's lots of things agents will do in a very interesting way, including I'm working with a company where it'll go out and it'll call a plumber or an electrician or things like that, right? Very interesting. RPA doesn't do that.
Yeah.
So, and you can have a conversation, right? An audible conversation. So I think they're different, and they're going to be used in different ways. And if your RPA is working, and you took a process that used to take 12 man hours, and you got it down to 12 minutes with RPA, what are you going to do? 12 minutes to 1 minute? Leave it alone. It works.
Yeah.
Let's go after the other things that take 45 minutes today that aren't automated. Can I automate them with AI agents? All right, there's that one. Checkbox 1.
Yeah, because this is good because these are the things our leader in IT are telling us, right? So they think that AI can just replace all those RPA process and cost less money. So RPA is not going anywhere anytime soon.
No, who's going to rip out RPA that works? We took 10 years to make it work. It took a long time. I just don't see people ripping that out wholesale and putting something new in if the new thing isn't at least 100% accurate.
That's right.
And RPA is, generally speaking, 100% accurate.
Definitely. Right.
It's rules-based. Nothing wrong with rules-based systems, guys. Don't,
Yeah.
This is what happens. See, something new comes out and it says, it's going to replace everything. Well, it's like, we're going to do everything on a mobile phone. Remember when mobile phones came out? Everything's going to be mobile. Everything's an app. Everything's going to be mobile. And it turns out there are things we do a lot on mobile. There are other things. We're all still using laptops.
Oh yeah.
There were people who said that
I can code on mobile. I will never code on mobile, for example.
do that. Who's going to work on spreadsheets on mobile? I mean, if you have to in an emergency, but so look, it turns out we didn't do everything on mobile, but we do a lot on mobile. Half the shopping in the country or more happens on mobile. I get that. But there's just a lot of things you need a desktop, a laptop, a large monitor for. And so don't over-index on AI. AI doesn't do everything, but there are some places where it's mind-blowingly great. Okay.
Yeah. So let's move to our next chapter. So what are the most surprising non-obvious business function where you are seeing tools like ChatGPT and other large language model create tangible value through?
Yeah. So I would look at it this way. I think people look at these models and of course they think ChatGPT, but there's actually about 300,000 or so transformers out there now, right? Literally, many of them very small, very accurate, very trained on very specific data. That's where all the play is going to be. it's not that you're not going to use GPT-5. I use it every day, or Gemini, but those large models trained on 10 trillion tokens of the English language, let's say, are good when you need to speak anything you want in English and have it opine back, right? And so it's great for marketing. It's great for certain kinds of content analysis and development and output. I get that. Now, if I want to do something in legal, I don't want an LLM just the way it is. I either want an LLM that was trained only on all of the legal cases, or I want a large language model that has RAG that limits its responses to those that are in the legal catalog, right? I don't want the thing hallucinating and making up stuff. So all of a sudden you see, to get real business value in most businesses over the next 5-10 years, all of this applied AI is going to be applying a variety of models. They could be, by the way, combinations of ML and AI, LLMs, multimodals, other transformers tuned for specific outcomes. And these are going to derive and produce incredible business outcome. And I can give you, I'll give you a couple examples. So call centers, you will use a large language model, but you're also going to use a voice AI, right? And so you need voice AI, you need a backed by a large language model, backed by text to speech and RAG, so that I can tune the large language model to only respond with my FAQs, let's say, right? With the way I want customer support to respond. If you put those things together, which you can do in short order, you can replace a call center. This is not unarguable. Certainly at level 1, right? Tier 1. It is not unarguable. That is a knowable. People are doing it today. And I'm sorry if you're listening to this and you go, but I'm in the call center. You should upskill yourself soon, right? Because AI is really good at that, right? I can pick up the phone. I can talk to an AI. It'll say, hey, I am Betsy, the AI call center person. I'm here to help you. And you're going to have it's not IVR like we used to have. It's a real call center interaction. And the data are clear in this, is that the customers who call are getting their answers faster and more accurately than when humans were there. Period.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, here's another one.
Yeah.
This is one I'm working on, which has been software QA. And we've spent 12 years building out models in software QA. And software QA end-to-end regression testing is the majority of labor in the industry. If people don't know, there's about $120 billion of spend worldwide in software QA. 99% of that is people. It is the least automated of anything. Only 1% is technology. This is crazy, right, in a technology world. So we've been developing AI that finds the bugs completely instead of people. And it goes all the way from the business requirements all the way down to test scripts, writes the test scripts, runs the test scripts, and shows you where your bugs are versus what the business requirements are. We're already doing this. We've got years of doing that, company called AppPants. And the people who are taking advantage of that are seeing literally measured 100x, 100 times productivity improvement, right? So,
yes,
99% reduction in labor to get the same outcome. That's amazing. That's what we've been after, right? That's an example of a business outcome. Now, that particular thing uses 20 machine learning models and 5 different transformers, types of LLMs, right? An LLM is a type of transformer, to get that kind of outcome. And 2 million lines of code around it. So this isn't like slap something around an LLM and boom, there's all your test scripts. No, it's millions of lines of code and a huge effort from a big team for a dozen years. That's how you do that. Now, what's interesting about that is you got 2.5 to 3 million people doing that job around the world. I can tell you, as I sit here, in the companies that are using it, they don't have people doing that job anymore. There's no one on a recorder. There's no one writing test scripts. The system generates the scripts. You can generate 1,000 an hour. I don't need a person doing that, right? So, so this is fascinating. So you say, why hasn't that just taken over the world? Well, the reason is there are a lot of people who see it, and the teams sabotage it and object to it, because they see the first time, they go, this just wrote 2,500 scripts in an hour. We couldn't do that in a year. And it found bugs that we insist aren't there, but they are.
So in IS, it's fair to say that the QA job is something that, if you're in QA,
Gone.
and to look.
there'll be senior QA architects, right? That evaluate what's going on, decide what goes in. They're the robot overlords. But if you think you are one of the 2.5, 3 million people that sit there and write scripts, that job is already gone. Now, the reason you are still in the job is because the company you work for either hasn't found out that this technology exists, or you have sabotaged it from coming into your organization. And this is another thing, it's not in your list of questions, another thing that's happening across all industry today. 31% of people on an anonymous survey admit to sabotaging the AI efforts of their company so that they don't lose their job.
I can see that.
But they're going to lose their job. If that's, you're going to, I can tell you, in the end, the machines win. The word sabotage, you know where it comes from?
No.
Okay. In the first industrial revolution in France, they were bringing in automation to make shoes and clothing and things like this. So all of a sudden there's automated looms and automated everything, right? And the French workers, who were very angry and didn't want these machines there, would throw their shoes into the machine that would jam up the machine and take weeks to repair. And the shoe is a sabot, so they throw their sabot.
Sabot, I know what sabot is.
Yeah, they throw the sabot into the machine, therefore sabotage.
Now it's connecting in my brain now. It makes sense.
So the word sabotage comes from workers resisting automation. That's what we're seeing today. Workers resisting automation. So about a third of workers, and easily 60 to 80% of the AI initiatives are getting sabotaged by the workers who tell their. But we had one recently where testers actually put lines of code into scripts that were written by AI that were right. They put things in to break them, and they say, look, this thing writes broken stuff. I go, we didn't write that, I can tell you. And so we'd show them, let's do it again. See, it works fine. No, it doesn't work for us. No. Someone's putting lines in there, some human. No, we're not. No, we're not. And the boss didn't know what to do, because the boss is being told it doesn't work. And yet we showed them it works every time. And the workers said, no, it doesn't work. We proved it. I mean, how do you tell a vice president that your workers are lying? Literally lying, literally sabotaging output that the machine won't do, that only they could sabotage, right? How do you tell the boss that? It's very complicated. So this is happening around the industry, but everyone's catching on, right? The boss will figure this out and make their own decision. And and if it is what it is, right? So there's certain jobs that this technology adds incredible value to, and those jobs are moving. You should be upskilling yourself. That's the answer.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Let's move to the next one. So misconception in enterprise, like our leaders, so they want us to use this tool. And but I don't think they understand, because like in my company now, for example, they say AI is the priority, but at the same time, like we have tool like ChatGPT that is banned in the company, right? So what's a common misconception that enterprise leaders have about using tool for automation?
Well, look, you could take any of these models. You could take the open source models, put them behind your firewall if you're very concerned. You can get privatized versions, enterprise versions of GPT-5 that they don't train on, and all of your information stays within your domain. So there's already ways to deal with the security and privacy, right? So they need to understand they can do that. Period. That's not an arguable. The second thing is they need to train everybody. Just because you have it doesn't mean people actually can get real use out of it, good use. Third of all, most of the value you're going to get isn't by sticking an LLM there and saying everyone can use it. Most of the value will come from the 3,000 other companies who leverage that technology but have added other value around it with very vertical oriented data and training data, right? That's where the value is. Like software QA, you can't do this with GPT-5,
Yeah.
but you can do it with 20 machine learning models in 5 transformers. Okay, well, that's a different story. So you have to go to a vendor who does that, not a vendor who slaps a little, 5 lines of code around an LLM, right?
Yeah.
So, and then as a leader, you have to measure the ROI. If there's no ROI that pays for itself and then some, don't do it, because money doesn't grow on trees, right? So AI isn't the answer to everything. You have to, evaluate things, come out, roll them out for a year, train everyone, know that you may not see the ROI in the first month or two, but by the end of the year, you should, be on a run rate that says, oh, I'm going to make 10 times what we spend on this, or 100 times what we spend on this. Those numbers are not unreasonable, as you approach a year or two. And lastly, a lot of training for the workers who are going to use it. And, know that some workers are not going to tell you, but they're secretly, giving you data that says it's terrible, right? So you have all of this stuff going on. Again, we've seen this for hundreds of years, and the machines win. So get over yourself. Upskill, become the robot overlord, or don't play the game. Just get out.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. So for our next question, you were talking about ROI. So let's talk about it in detail now. So where are companies seeing the fastest and most measurable return on investment from
Oh,
different
yeah.
information?
Well, look, I mean, any of the LLMs do content generation really well. So marketing content generation is instant, right? I can do 52 blog posts for the year today.
Yeah.
Where it used to take me weeks and weeks, I can do it in a day. That ROI is real, right? Now, I might not send someone home because of that, right? It's just they can do a lot more than they did before, because they freed up time. So I think marketing content generation is just a hardcore ROI. You can see the savings. It probably keeps you from hiring additional marketing people or going outside and having contractors that you won't need. So if you're not seeing ROI in the first week or two, then your marketing team wasn't well trained on what they need to be doing to do well.
Exactly. All right. Thank you. So let's go to the next one. So let's talk about digital transformation. That's another big things in enterprise now. So what's the single biggest non-technical hurdle to a successful digital transformation? Is it
Well,
leadership?
yeah, non-technical hurdle. Yeah, culture, leadership, something else entirely. It is certainly culture, it's leadership, and it's also the workers, right? So digital transformation, which has been going on for a decade, right, is to make sure that everything you've done is digitized. You're really not using printers, you're not handing around paper, you're not doing any of that. Everything we do is digital, and it's analyzed from that data, right? So I've got a database that holds everything, and I can analyze anything that's in there. I'm not putting things in there that are not useful. So the technology to do this has been around for a very long time, and then you could argue RPA was part of digital transformation as well, because now, yes, and the cloud and AI. I mean, all of these, and IoT was part of that, right?
Yeah.
So all of these go into that. Why? Because if I can collect information from my machines, I don't have people writing it down and saying the meter says this. No, I've got sensors on there. I'm collecting this data all day, right? And then you want to do something with the data. And we've needed AI, and we've been using AI for more than a decade to do something with all that data that's coming in from IoT. So look, all of this kind of change comes from the top. It has to come from the leader. It has to come from the CEO and the CIO and the CFO. And there has to be an outcome of spending that money. And the outcome is I can analyze my business far better, because I have all this data that I didn't have before, and now I can make strategic decisions based on that data. That's what this is about. And it isn't that hard to do. Today, it's quite easy. And AI, Gen AI, LLMs can be a part of that.
Definitely. Yeah. And now, can you share an example of a company that thought they were done with their digital transformation only to realize that AI has changed the rules of the game?
Virtually every company. So a lot of people got done the digital transformation. All of a sudden, Gen AI's here, right?
Yeah. We were done with the
So
cloud. Same with us. We were done with the cloud. We thought, oh, this is done. And now AI is there, and then they're talking about it again.
that's right, right. Yeah, Gen AI changed the game because it really I don't know if it changed the game. It adds to the game, right? And it gives you other ways to evaluate all your data,
Mm-hmm.
and it gives you other ways to create content, other ways to generate summaries, all kinds of things, right, that you didn't have. And so now you have to say part of our digital transformation includes everyone, 100% of this company getting value out of Gen AI,
Mm-hmm.
real value, measurable value every day. I use Gen AI every hour. People are surprised by that,
Same
but
here.
at least every hour, yes,
Yeah.
maybe more often. And why not? Why wouldn't I do that? So I've got some awards back there for musicals and movies and films and things that I've worked on, right? Everything I do now in that space, I am now analyzing with Gen AI to say, compared to the last top 30 shows on Broadway or these movies, how does this compare? How does the story arc compare? How can I improve the story arc? How can I improve the I Want song? And people go, you using it for that? Why wouldn't I?
Exactly.
Because what I used to have to do is go back and read those scripts and say, oh, how did that work? How did that storyline work? Wonder if I can fold some of what I learned there, and forget it. Just tell me how it aligns, right?
Definitely.
And,
Yeah.
and so we use it in entertainment, we use it in business, we use it in content generation. We're using it here to summarize this, this podcast. Your summary will be
Definitely.
done for you. I
Yeah.
mean, we're using it all the time. And if you're listening to this and you are not using Gen AI every moment of every day, you're behind.
Yeah. So you talk about summarizing. Summarizing is what works. Like I've been taping this podcast with guests, but when I use an AI summary, that's what people want to listen to. It
Yep.
has more views than the original show. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
like by far. So it's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Okay. So next one. So how do you convince a CEO or a board to invest in a multi-year transformation roadmap when they're under pressure to show quarterly results?
Yeah, this is always the problem. And it's a problem, less with Japanese companies that look out 5 and 10 years, and much more with U.S. public companies that have to show quarterly results. And so, in the end, you as a company already partake in R&D efforts that might be 2 and 3 years, or product development efforts that might be 2, 3, 4 years. Mm-hmm. So this is part of that. This is transforming your company into a digital powerhouse that it wasn't, and maybe an AI first company that it wasn't. And if you don't, that's okay, because your competitors are. It's that simple.
Yeah, definitely. So if you don't do it, someone else is going to do it.
Oh, they are doing it. They just assume your competition is using all of this to the nth degree. If you still have, a typical large enterprise could have hundreds and hundreds of people, if not thousands, involved in software QA, including all the regression testing across 5 or 10,000 applications that they manage. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that will be farmed out. It'll be, some provider in India or some other country, right? But if you've still got 2,500 people doing that work, I know a bank that has that many. If you still got 2,500 people doing that work, and your competitor now has 50, man, that is real profit to the bottom line, and they're moving faster. They're literally moving 10 times faster. So how are you going to survive? You're going to lose in the long run. And in the long run, your shareholders are going to invest in the company that has a better bottom line, a better profit margin, because they are leveraging all this technology, and you're not. And compare it to this. 2 companies more than 100 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. You're both transporting all your goods with horse and buggy. Mm-hmm. Then the car comes out, mm-hmm. and someone makes kind of a truck out of it. Okay. Yeah. Company 1 stays with the horse and buggy. Company 2, they got a truck.
Yeah.
Okay. All of a sudden, they are delivering goods 5 times, 10 times faster than the horse. So now they start to diverge, and one is going up and the other one is going nowhere, right? And
Yeah.
so they diverge highly. And now when you look out a year or two or three, one has gotten really good at transport by truck, and the other one is still using horses because that's what they believe in.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about here. In fact, with AI, here's the difference: horse and buggy versus bullet train, right? I mean
That's a good
that's what I
analogy.
that's what I say in software QA. If you are still writing scripts with Selenium, that's the horse and buggy.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, your competitors are using a bullet train.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Yeah, next one. So let's talk about your Silicon Valley experience, right? So, from your perspective in the heart of Silicon Valley, what's the biggest disconnect you see between how a tech startup thinks about innovation and how a large traditional
Oh,
enterprise
sure.
like mine thinks about it?
Yeah, that's easy. Look, in innovation, disruptive innovation is all about taking risks. Large companies don't like to take risks. Small companies have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
So we're willing to take risks and forge new markets where a large company would not do that, and a large company can't disrupt their profit lines right now. So all of this is really critical, and I think this is where you see small companies eventually come in and eat the large company's lunch, and they eat you from below. And
Yeah.
they start going after just the simplest things, but they're doing it really, really well. And eventually they take all your business.
Yeah.
And
And those
and
small companies, they fail, they recreate themselves again, they try again.
yeah,
So
that's right.
way to fail,
Yeah,
like you say.
that's right. So if you're a traditional enterprise, you want to play that game, you have got to have a culture of disruptive innovation, of being willing to take risks,
Yeah.
and being willing to fail fast. So you've got a
Yeah.
feedback loop. And but here's what I tell large companies. In Silicon Valley, after you've been well funded, your chance of big success is about 1 in 10. After you've been well funded, meaning many millions of dollars, right? Well
Yeah.
funded. Still your chance is 1 in 10. If within the enterprise you think your chances are better than that, you're crazy. These are VCs and they do it professionally and they look for the best teams in the world and, right?
Mhm.
So that means if you want to have one really, really big win,
Mhm.
you might have to start 10 to 20 projects, of which one bubbles to the top as the winner.
Oh.
And
So
what
basically,
enterprises tend to
you
do,
recreate that Silicon Valley way of doing things inside
right?
the big
Yeah, that's
corporation.
right. What companies tend to do is they say, okay, we'll take a risk, we'll start this one thing. Okay, the chance of success is 1 in 10.
Yeah.
So if you start one, your chance of success is 10%. You need to really start 20 of these and kill the ones that are never going to work
Kill them fast.
soon. And yeah, maybe it's months, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what you got to do.
Definitely. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So, what's the tactical role of a CIO or CTO uh, in bridging this cultural and technological gap?
Yeah, look, I think the CIO or CTO owns these rollouts, under the CEO,
Yeah.
and has to set the guideline of here's where we want to be in a year or two or three. This is what we're going to spend. This is what we're all going to do, and everybody's got to come along. That's the culture, and we're going to take some risks, and we're going to win sometimes, we're going to lose some other times, but in the end, we're going to be a much better off company, and everybody's in the rowboat, and we're all rowing together. That's what you do.
Definitely. Yeah. That's great. And now, so for a leader at a large company like mine who wants to start incorporating a more Silicon Valley mindset, what is the one actionable piece of advice you can give them?
To allow your employees to take risks, and when they do and it fails, you don't come down on them and you don't fire them.
Yeah.
You embrace that and say, isn't it great we learned that? Now we know what not to do. Let's try this other thing. Now we know what not to do. Let's try this other thing. And if you try 10 of them, statistically, one of them is going to be a game changer for your company. So it is a culture that comes from the top.
From the top,
And
exactly. Because
from the top.
my leader, if he maybe he's scared of his leader and so on, so he has to come.
That's what happens. What happens is people don't want to speak up because they feel vulnerable and they feel like either their leader or their boss or people around them are going to shame them. Say, well, that's a dumb idea.
Yeah.
And then you know what happens when you say that to someone? They never speak up again.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So you have to have a culture of innovation. and
Mhm.
a boss who's going to hear this. You might share this with your boss, right? And
Oh
say,
yeah.
listen, dude, you got to, and he may accept that, or he may say, he or she may say, I don't want to lead the company that way.
Yeah,
That's just
for
not
sure.
what I'm doing. I got to hit my quarterly numbers, and I'm going to be very consistent, very conservative. Great, it's fine. Lots of conservative companies, they work,
Hmm.
but eventually someone will eat your lunch. I just
Definitely.
don't know if that's this week,
Yeah.
this month, this year, two
No,
years.
that's great. Okay, that's great. So now, so how can a traditional enterprise compete for and retain the top AI talent when they are up against a well-funded startups like we've been seeing today?
Well, first of all, what you want in an enterprise is probably applied AI talent. I don't think you're going to be building your own models, and so you have to think about what kind of AI talent you want. And applied AI, how to apply it to my field is very different than I want to build a new foundational model. Very
Hmm.
different people.
Yeah,
And I think the big question for people is, people who have solid AI expertise today, they're worth a lot in Silicon Valley.
yeah.
As you see people getting $100 million offers, right?
Ah,
Look,
crazy.
that is the standout. That isn't the norm, right?
Yeah.
But clearly, people, engineers or CTO level people or architects or whatever who've been around AI for years or decades, in general, are going to have $1 million packages ish,
Yeah.
right? And a large enterprise may say, I can't do that. That's more than the CEO makes it, more than my top salespeople make. Okay, then you're not playing. You can't play the game. I don't know what to tell you. You could play it with some people who have less experience.
Yeah.
You can. I'm not saying it's fair, by the way. It's a little bit like
Is what it
the
is.
basketball player that makes 47 million a year, and you go, that isn't fair.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting so much in TV ratings and so much in TV money, and apparently it worked out on the book, so it works. I
Yeah.
don't know. Life isn't fair, right?
Uh,
But great AI talent, is sort of in that range today,
mhm,
and again, those are people with decades of experience and real understanding on how to solve the problems that you may have in an enterprise with AI and Gen AI and how to roll those systems out, and how to train people, and sort of all the other things, right?
mhm. So, but can those company rely on training their existing talent, or do they have to bring someone else?
Depends what you're trying to do. If what you're doing is going to vendors and bringing in vendors who have that expertise and have
Mhm.
have technology that works and have software that works, that's going to be fine, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Because you're relying on the vendor, you're not doing it. You're integrating, but you're not doing anything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you've probably already got integration engineers. You don't need that AI talent.
Yeah.
If somehow you're in a kind of business that needs that kind of AI talent, then you got to go buy the AI talent. That's,
Yeah.
for the going rate.
Yeah. Exactly. No, that's good. So, I want to get the final takeaway here. So, we talk about three things today: the future of automation, digital transformation, and how to bridge the bridge between Silicon Valley and the enterprise. What is the
Yeah.
single most important piece of advice you can give to an executive or builder today who wants to lead their organization in the AI era?
So I've got it. So what is the best advice I can give an executive today? Look, you want to put AI throughout your organization.
Mhm.
You want to get started. You want to run fast. You want training to happen. You need to know that many of your initiatives may be sabotaged by your workers. I know that's hard to swallow. Just get over it, right? It
Yeah.
happened in the first industrial revolution, it happened in the second industrial revolution. It's happened with automation throughout human history. It's going to happen to you. Get used to it. And then, so that means you got to get in the details and make decisions for yourself. If you are waiting for your workers to tell you it works or doesn't work, stop. You need to go prove it for yourself. Prove it to me. Show me what you can do. Boom, 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 boom. Wow, that's the opposite of what my employees told me. What's going on here? And I can't tell you, I can just give you the stats, right? 31% of employees admit to sabotaging, which equates to, just because of the number of employees involved, more than 80% of AI rollouts are being sabotaged in some way.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, man, that's
That's a
eye-opening. Our
lot.
report was just out
30%.
That
Yeah.
survey was just out last week, and it was a survey of thousands of anonymous workers, right? But this is fascinating because it says the reason 80% of your things aren't working, maybe they are working. Maybe they're working great, but that's
Yeah.
not what the workers are reporting. So we've got to get past that, right? And that means you got to be in the details. You got to get into the weeds a little bit, make decisions for yourself, take, input, but you're the decision maker. Make the right decision. Do not decide. I've seen people go backwards and go to something very old because that's all the workers wanted. And
Yeah.
again, this isn't management against workers. That's not how I'm stating it, right?
Yeah.
To be clear, but just know that you're going to see some of this happen, and so you just got to be prepared for it. That's all.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Kevin. So for your great insight. So you can follow Kevin on LinkedIn. He's very popular over there. And then that's his website, kevinsurace.com. That was
That's right.
great. I hope to have you again to talk about more topics in the future. That was great. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, bye. That's it for now.
Yeah, we got it this time. Take
We
care.
got it. Yeah. How much then?
Bye.
Thank you. Yeah. Bye.